Isn't freedom a wonderful thing? To be able to make your own mind of what you are and what you believe in and have free choice about how you discuss things. Now, some people are not as fortunate as others in that aspect of life, and that is a great inequality in life. It's those who have total freedom in how they express themselves, whether it's in humour, or whether it's conversation about climate, or whether it's conversation about homosexuality, or Islam, or some other thing that the left jump upon people in crowds and angrily if people freely talk about things that they are no longer allowed to talk about, or because they haven't been educated well enough or don't know the subject well enough, they can't get into an intellectual discourse, an open-hearted intellectual discourse, which gains insight to the discussion, because the discussion should be impartial. And that's the great thing about freedom, and that impartiality in regards to freedom and how we express ourselves is what taken the humans out of the dark ages. And the left, with Jeremy Corbyn and all these left within the West, anti-Semitic left with all their step-by-step political correct stranglehold on conversation and thought and humour and everything that made the West great and attractive to immigrants. The left want to kill off. You can't even make jokes anymore without them coming down, so you can't make those sort of jokes. You can't discuss, say, there's a science to everything, and we can't discuss why people become homosexual, because that offends homosexuals. Why should it defend homosexuals discussing why they become homosexuals? Why does they do? Who cares whether they are or not? But it's interesting to discuss things, surely. You can't say you're not like a blanket ban on all these different things that you can't discuss, because it means that thousands of years of history of philosophy are killed off by the approach the left have to life itself. And that's why they're very, very dangerous. Extreme left are far more dangerous than it is realised, because they're against free speech and against restricting speech and against being violent against people who speak. And the thing is, when they use the term sexist, climate denier and all that sort of stuff, it demonstrates the limit they have of an ability to discuss anything intelligently. That's the greatest demonstration they have. They can't discuss anything, just obey orders. And when they say, "Oh, you're Islamophobic," which is offensive because, in several ways, because one, and there are reasons to fear Islam, not the Muslim world. You can visit Islamic countries, and they're brilliant to visit. I love visiting the Islamic countries, we all do. The great fun, the food, the exoticness of the place, the people are great, always friendly, and there are a few idiots amongst them what spoil their reputation. And that's unfortunate. But there are two reasons to fear Islam in our countries, not in their countries. That's their country. That's what they do, what they like. They make their own laws up. That's their rule. They're Islamic countries. We go there and we respect them. But when they come to our countries, and some of them say, "Oh, you should be all Islamic. We're going to make you all Islamic within not too distant future. London's going to be an Islamic city, and they got Islamic mayor and all that." When could the Muslims ever let a white Englishman go and become a mayor in a Muslim city somewhere? No one on earth, because they're the racially prejudiced ones. And it proves it by that. To say you're racist and Islamophobic, yet there's an Islamic mayor of London and other places. So it's actually a total lie. And I fear people that lie for ideological reasons, political reasons, or just reasons to take control of others and use it as a means to stir up the pot up, if you like, by saying you're Islamophobic. Well, if you come into my house and start threatening me that you're a stranger in my house, I invite you in, and you come in through the door, just come in and then tell me how to behave. Well, of course, that's something to fear. No one wants that. Whether Britain was wrong in the past going around and colonising places, but it happened in history. It's not reason for some people, well, they did it, now it's our turn to do it. No, we're supposed to learn by mistakes, not make the same mistakes over and over again, which of course brings to humanity troubles. There's another thing to fear Islam. If it's was going to ever rule all of us, is that it doesn't want us to enjoy whiskey. And I think it's because Muslims don't appreciate the beauty of whiskey. But then there's there's another side to that. Thank God, and I mean thank God, their God Allah, for banning Muslims from drinking, because maybe that a tipple of really good Scotch whiskey or so in the future is going to be developed. This wonderful stuff called Scotch whiskey. And you think, well, hang on a minute, if everyone gets onto this, there won't be enough for other people, the people who drink it in the other cultures who like this sort of stuff. There won't be enough to go around for them, and because it's a tipple, mild relaxative, that's all it is. People don't generally get drunk on whiskey. Only fools do. But mostly it's something that you enjoy because of the cost of it. You don't get drunk on it. You enjoy it, relax in the evening, or listen to a bit of music, have a chat with someone, sit around a fire, whatever. Now, the reason Muslims got banned from drinking was the reason I ban anyone drinking. You get drinking after a hot day driving across the desert in a camel or whatever, and it's getting hot, dehydrated, straight into the wine, and then passions would flare and they sort of start stabbing each other and getting violent, which happens all over the place. It's not condemning Islam. It's what happens with alcohol when people are too thirsty and then they have enough liquid, which is, deprives them of the metabolic conditions in their body. And like the Aboriginals of Australia, they get violent when they get drunk because of the conditions already within their physical environment. So there you go, but there's several issues there. One, we are not Islamophobic until they come into our countries, and that's telling us they're going to take over our countries. And then they do things, certainly done things in the UK which have been reprehensible, and then certainly give themselves a bad name. They've done things to give themselves a bad name and to stir anger and fear against them. They've set out to do that, to incite a violence against them, which they would not like if white people went into their country and do what they are doing in England. They would not take it. They're uprising violence because they're a violent people. At their heart, they're not. If it was truly a religion of peace, they would change the tone of the whole philosophy when they lived in the West, and most of them do. I do respect that most of them do, but there's still a hardcore there who think we're going to Islamanize the West, make the West a fully Islamic system through the left's association with the socialists in Iran. And that's what I suspect it is. I may be wrong there, but I don't know about that. And that's what the thing about these people's conventions, what they're called, they were going to have people's assembly. That sounds like a mosque to me, because a mosque is a people's assembly. So England have missed a bomb, actually, if you like, of socialism. You can't have socialism through a vote. It can't be done. Socialism's always come about by a revolution against oppression and all that sort of stuff. But the socialists then become the oppressors. And that's right just now. England can breathe a sigh of relief, and let's pray to God, if you have one, who just hope to providence that the left never, ever recover. If that's what they've got intention, is to sign up with the Islamophites and want to change the all of the West into an Islamic control system by using a very incremental ability to control people through PC, then maybe the tides turn. And I suspect many, many Muslims who've moved to England don't want to live in a Marxist system either. It's very strange that the left assume that all women, gays, and all black people and all Muslims are Marxists. It's a very strange way to go about your politics. As far as Islamophobia is concerned, that's the fault of Islam, not the fault of those people who fear of them. The fear is being created by them demanding entry en masse into countries that they have not created and have been created on the back of freedom and fought against tyranny for 1,000 years. And that's why Boris Johnson's won and Jeremy Corbyn, well, good riddance to him.